Hello, 8th graders. Today, this is your recap video for Advanced Language Arts. Ms. Tresick and I went over a lot of test prep this morning in our Zoom. So again, it's not required for you to attend the Zooms. I highly recommend it. We will be having another one tomorrow, which will be Thursday, May 28th at 9 a.m. And so we'll do some similar things that we did today, except for we'll look more at narrative. And today our focus was informative text. So just to get right down to it, the kind of the main thing that we want to talk to you about today is your assessment information. So I sent an email to your families today about that. I'll be sending an email to you as well. It'll also be in Google Classroom. But basically, your pre-assessment is Monday, June 1st at 10 a.m. If you cannot attend, please email myself or Ms. Tresick, whoever your teacher is, to schedule another time. We understand that sometimes whoever you live with, your parents, aunts and uncles, whoever it might be that is normally home with you, is not able to be there during that time because we're going to ask that you have an adult family member in the room. But we would like you to take it at 10 a.m. because you are going to be taking it and you have to log into a Zoom. If you can't, like I said, email. It's very similar to our finals that we've given in the past via Elluminate as far as the kind of the way in which you have to log in and those kinds of things. But you'll find a link on Google Classroom the day of. It'll go live right at 10 a.m. You'll basically need your Chromebook and that's it. So it's not really open note. You wouldn't need that anyways. You're going to be asked to join a Zoom link. And the way that we've worked this out, we're going to practice this tomorrow, is every single person will be given their own breakout room. So if we have 30 kids, there'll be 30 breakout rooms, and Ms. Tresick and myself will pop into the different breakout rooms just to double check. So once you're in that breakout room, you'll share your screen and you'll make sure that your camera is on. So we will have to have cameras on for this test. I know during a lot of our Zoom sessions, students keep their cameras off. For this, you have to have camera on. And so it's just one of those things where it'd be like if we were in a classroom and we were walking around the room, making sure that your screen is on the right thing. I don't think any of you are planning to cheat. I don't think you would, but it's just one of those things that we kind of have to do just to make sure. Your test will be, I think it's going to be around 30 questions, a little bit less than that maybe. It's going to be mostly multiple choice, and then there'll be a few, one or two constructed response. And so that's just your short answer. So you won't get your score right away. You won't know because we'll have to go through and grade with a rubric on those constructed response questions. But you should have your results within the next day or so because we have to finalize grades by the 4th. We strongly suggest and request that you have an adult family member in the room or whoever it is that you live with, whether it's mom, dad, aunt, uncle, whoever it might be, when you're taking that test. Again, if you want to take it at 10 a.m. and whoever you live with is at work, that's just what it is. That's why we have the breakout rooms to ensure that we can check in on you. Again, if Monday at 10 a.m. does not work, you just let me know. If you're my student, you let Ms. Tresick know if you are in her advanced class, and we'll make sure that we can schedule a different time for you. A tip for success. One of the things that we noticed, Ms. Tresick and I have access to the test, and we've looked at it several times. There are questions with multiple answers. And so if you do not read the questions carefully, you will miss because it will count it wrong if you do not answer all of the portions correctly. So you might get a little bit of credit here and there, but there are some answers that have multiple where you have to click, like if it's choose the best 3 answers. So make sure you're really looking for that. If it says a specific number, that you click all of those numbers. Believe it or not, those are the questions that are often missed by this group when we give tests and Elluminate. And so we just want to be really clear with that and make sure that you are paying attention and reading those test questions. And then just little things like skimming directions and thinking you know what it really means, make sure that you slow down. This is a 9th grade level text. It's the same, or it's 9th grade level test. So make sure that you're really slowing down and understanding what they're asking. We had a lot of questions during the Zoom today just about like what happens if we don't pass and how do we do summer school or summer credit recovery, whatever that is. So one of the things that you will do, you'll take this test. If you score 70%, you will receive a pass grade that will go in kind of as the summer trimester, if you will, or a summer session. And that is the case for all students who are taking high school courses across the nation, basically. So it's not like you are taking a summer course because and you're worried about your transcripts. Do not worry about that. If for whatever reason you don't pass, then you will have work and learning for you in the credit recovery over the summer. And the summer dates, I want to say, are the second through the third week, or the first, second, and third week in June, or whatever it might be. So it's basically you have 3 weeks to do that learning. It might not take you that long. Let's say you only miss a few questions off of that 70% and you only have to work on 1 or 2 standards of learning, then you can retest just those sections and you'd be good to go. So again, if you have any questions about this, please attend the Zoom tomorrow and ask them, or email me or Ms. Tresik. So let's kind of jump in. So one of the things that Ms. Tresik went over today was this idea of parallel structure review. And so it's that writing style where words, phrases, and clauses match in style. And so we went over how there's different levels of this, and it's oftentimes used with the verb and how your verbs have to match. So like if you start off with this idea of, we go over here where it talks about Mercutio, where it says he dies joking, laughing, and cursing. If you notice the ing is present that in all 3 of those verbs, that would basically alert you to a parallel structure. There's also, when you think about coordinating conjunctions in a list, right? That's kind of how I remember it, is it's normally a list. Parallel structure exists in a list, and there's a conjunction. So oftentimes it's and or. If you notice right here, it's an and. Right here, it's an and right here, it's also an and. You can use a list using commas, right? We talked about how when you have a list, you need to have commas. Ms. Tresik and I, Mr. Dickinson, are all fans of the Oxford comma, meaning you use 2 instead of 1. And when I say 2, I mean after each of the first 2 words. And there may be set off with a colon. And so when you sometimes create a list, if you were to say Romeo and Juliet is a play about, and then you might put a colon here. That doesn't always exist. That often happens. I always see that in like recipes. So that's a common tactic there. But you can also see it in, so this is kind of the basic, like Romeo and Juliet is a play about love, loss, and loyalty, right? Those are not necessarily verbs, but they are all in the same tense. And then if you see Mercutio's character dies joking, laughing, and cursing, Shakespeare's way of showing that his character is clever and sees the truth. Now, if you'll notice here, this section is the parallel structure. This is just an additional clause within the sentence. And you'll notice here that there's a semicolon distinguishing between the 2 separate clauses, right? They're both independent clauses. And then if you think about a little bit more of a, I don't want to say like higher level, but a little bit tougher one would be at the clause level, where it says Friar Lawrence is a major character to blame in Romeo and Juliet because he married the youths in secret. He agreed to help Romeo in his banishment, and he trusted one of the most important assignments to, I think it says Friar John there. I can't see on my screen because of the recorder. So if you want some additional information about this, you can click on the link on the Purdue Writing Lab, or you can go to No Red Ink. And if you want to just go to the Learn button, and I think the top left corner, you'll see that there is an option for you to explore and learn any type of task that you want within No Red Ink. So it doesn't have to be assigned by us. We have assigned the parallel structure, but if you want to play around with that again, you can. And then if we kind of go back to the example I just discussed, you'll notice here, right, that these are all clauses, right? He agreed to help Romeo in his banishment. He trusted one of the most important assignments to Friar John, right? These are all independent clauses here. And so, but they're connected through a series of commas and a list. And so that is an example of parallel structure. Moving on, one of the things that we did together today is we did a cold read with questions. So I'm not necessarily going to do all of that here with you, but we've assigned both of them on Common Lit. So characteristics of resilient people, I read aloud, and I'll do a little bit of that here. And we talked through the different answers and why each one was correct. And then we assigned the Declaration of Independence plus assessment questions as homework. On Common Lit, these questions, we selected these 2 pieces of text, one, because the questions match up with similar questions that you're going to see on your pre-assessment next week. And the Declaration of Independence uses kind of old language. And so one of the things that we want to make sure is that you're experiencing multiple levels of text. These are both ninth grade texts, and also from different portions of our history, because sometimes that language can be a little tricky. And so that's longer. So what I would like you to do when you're done with this video, log on to commonlit.com and work on these two different assignments. So the characteristics of resilient people. If we just go to, this takes me to the lottery. Let it load here. And characteristics. And so again, it'll take you right to it because you have the a link to the classroom. Source decided he wants to join us for class. Not sure why. There we go. And so what we did, like I said, is we read this together and we worked through the questions. Students submitted answers via our chat, and then we talked through which were correct. So if we think about this text as a whole, you can read through it. And then if we look at the assessment questions here, once you answer and submit, you will see what the correct answer is, or you'll see what the correct answers are. So if we work through, I'll talk about this one here really quickly. So we read through this whole thing, and the question asked what statement best expresses the central idea of the text. The answer was A, so resiliency is the key to problem solving for most, or sorry, the answer is D. Resilient people possess qualities that enable them to overcome challenges. The next and so we talked a lot about how the answer D is a little bit more vague than some of the other answers. And when you think about a central idea, you want it to be all encompassing and you want to be able to find evidence throughout. So when you're thinking about central idea, right, you want to make sure you can pull it from multiple places and that your central idea is a little bit more vague and it is informational. It's like, what is actually happening? Well, resilient people possess qualities that enable them to overcome challenges, and you'll see that again and again. So what I'd like you to do is, like I said, work through these two, and then if you have any questions, bring them tomorrow to our Zoom or email me, and we can chat about anything that was tripping you up in the cold reads. So just a reminder, here is your assessment information. I'll be posting this in Google Classroom, but if you can, please attend our 9 a.m. Zoom tomorrow, Thursday, May 28th. We'll also have office hours on Friday, the 29th at 11:30 a.m. like we normally do. So again, email us with questions. Please don't stress out. I think you'll all do wonderfully. Just make sure that you are doing the prep that we give you this week. So have a great day.